I'm not saying anything. Oh,
It's
I
too
guess
late.
that
I already
answers it.
pressed the button.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, welcome, Chase Wantland, probably the person who actually watches this the most.
Yeah, I'm your fan. Yeah.
You're the number one fan, and now you get to be on
Yeah.
because
So,
I keep telling everyone, I'm just like, all right, well, say hi to Chase Wantland because he's the only one listening.
well, when you mentioned my name during Euros uh, episode, I was like, oh my god! I started tearing up a little bit, man. I was like, I was getting a little emotional. I was like, oh my god, they talked about me. That's awesome. So,
I think we also talked about you on the Brown and Leroy one.
oh, I haven't caught up yet. I heard
Yeah.
you and Babcock talking about something regarding me, but yeah, I haven't caught up on all of them yet. So
Oh, that one was a while ago. I haven't talked to
yeah, I'm a
Babcock.
little
Well, I
behind.
text him every once in a while.
I got to straighten my hat here. Make sure I'm okay. There we go.
No, don't worry, you look fly.
Good. Good. I'm hiding my bald spot. I don't think. I think the last time, not bald spot, my balding complete. I think the last time you saw me, I had hair. I don't have hair anymore. So I'm a.
Completely bald, or is it like
Oh,
horseshoe style and you can grow
well,
the
I guess
skullet?
horseshoe. Yeah, horseshoe. But yeah, you know. So I just shave it.
Chase, Chase,
Huh?
you can do it. You can grow the skullet.
I can rock it. Yeah, yeah,
I think you're the chosen one from
yeah,
VMX 204 that has, you could do it. You could make the skullet happen.
yeah. Bring it back.
Skull on top, mullet in the back.
Yeah. I remember the years leading up to my EAS. All I was thinking about was growing my hair out. That was the that was one of the top things in my mind was growing my hair out. I just couldn't wait. And then like those last couple of years, I saw it thinning out. I was like, oh shit, you know. And I knew the inevitable was going to hit me. It was just going to all come out in a matter of years. I was very depressed over that. But
I
it is
was
what it.
uh I was daydreaming about not shaving those
Yeah,
last years. And so for one full year, I didn't touch the beard. I let it grow out completely.
yeah,
And then 1 year later, I'm like, all right, it's coming off now.
bro. Who was the? I'm trying to remember who the gunny was. He just went full hippie. He had been out for a number of years, and when I saw his picture after getting out, he looked nothing. It was like Forrest Gump, with the full beard and the hat. I couldn't even recognize the guy.
Gunny Lolly from Flightline.
Perhaps I don't remember who it was, but he was just like unrecognizable.
I
Um,
know, I know Lolly caught up with Stumbaugh.
that sounds like
And
Lolly. Yeah,
yeah, I know he caught up with him at one point. I forget when it was, but he was just, yeah, that unrecognizable. Is just like he looked like a homeless biker.
yes, that was him. That was him.
Yep.
I envied that man. That's actually what I was wanting to do. I was wanting to do that or something close to it, and it didn't really pan out. But
Well, I mean, I don't think you have that Boston I might be homeless mentality about you.
yeah, yeah,
Because that
yeah.
guy did not, he didn't care even when he was in.
No, I know, but I don't know. I just envied that. I was like, man, I just love his lax attitude about everything. You know, even if it wasn't genuine. At least that was the impression I got. I was like, man, I want to be that. I was pretty
Well,
tightly wound in those years. At least in hindsight, that's what I
uh,
remember.
I,
At least.
I was
But
wound, but in the wrong direction, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, and then I
bro,
cared
you
about
you
things
look
that I
you
shouldn't
look
have cared about.
you look. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I cared about things that I shouldn't have cared about and didn't care about things that I should have.
Yeah.
I learned that lesson too late.
Yes. You majored on the minors and minored on the majors, perhaps. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Me too.
I mean, but that's
It's
how you learn, by really making really bad decisions.
yeah,
And sometimes making small bad decisions and going, oh, this will be okay. Then you make another small bad decision, and then it mounts up to this really bad decision. You're like,
yeah. Uh, I have more bad decisions than I can count. It's just like you give up after some point. It's just like, all right, I know what bad decisions are. Let's move on. Let's learn and let's move forward. Yeah. Well,
but I think that's how you can learn and start making good decisions, is by
yeah.
recognizing the patterns of when bad decisions start. And be like,
Yes, sir.
wait a minute, I've read this book before. I've seen this movie. I know
Yeah.
what's going to happen. And then you just go, not going to do it. And then you just like,
Yeah.
go do that instead.
Absolutely. That that definitely resonates with me. You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
It's like you learn to see it coming from a mile away. I suppose it's like, oh no
I
no
don't know
no
if I've
no.
gotten to the mile part. I've gotten to the 10 feet part.
Yeah. Right right right.
It's like right in front of me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Not gonna do it. Even though a good part of you wants to. Yeah. But anyway,
Oh, yeah.
we
Everything
don't have to get
inside of
in.
you
We
is
don't have to get
screaming
into
like,
the details there. But yeah.
oh, no. It's like all sorts of aspects of like work, life, personal issues, and just like things like that. And you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've done it to every aspect of my life so far. And I'm like, turning 40 and like getting ready and just being like, finally, I'm learning something. And just most of it was how dumb I was in my 20s.
Yeah. Are you? Did you say you're already 40, or where are you at?
I'm 39 and a half, so I'm
Yeah.
rounding.
So you might as well be. Yeah.
Yeah, almost
I
there.
I've told everyone that I stopped counting after 25, which is the like honest truth. Like I just stopped, and now I'm 42. And it's like holy crap, man, what happened? you know. Yeah. But
I'll tell you what happened. The slow, inevitable march of time just kept creeping forward, and you weren't watching, and it just snuck up on you, and it jumped on your back.
yeah. That's exactly right.
And with the weakest hands, he's choking you right
yeah. Yeah. It's a battle of attrition. It doesn't have to be very strong, as but it just doesn't let go, and that eventually. Yeah,
now. Yeah. So
I'm reading up on a lot of warfare tactics as of late, and I'm learning all about
interesting. Tell me
what a
more.
war of attrition means. What's that?
Interesting. Tell me more.
Well, I know you guys touched on this a little bit with your last. Let me fix my. I feel like I can. You hear me? Okay. I guess you
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
can. Well, yeah, just you guys touched on American history. I think with your discussion with Euro, and
Mhm.
I've been reading up a lot on the American Civil War and other wars as well, but that one in particular. And oftentimes, it seems that either army at different points along the course of the war were betting on the other side just simply giving up due to the perseverance of their side. You know what I mean? So it's like if they can see how determined we are in our fight for whatever, perhaps that'll be enough for them to throw up their arms and just give up and say, all right. And and if we do that long enough, that'll be sort of you sort of wear them out. Almost like a Muhammad Ali approach, a war of attrition. It's like we're gonna give up on our cause because it's obvious that our opponent isn't gonna stop. You know, so someone's probably
Is
gonna
that
chime in and correct me on that, but nevertheless, I think that's really interesting. Sometimes it's not necessarily your ability to conquer, completely demolish your opposition. Sometimes it's just a matter of like how long can you last, like what's your stamina like, can you give the other side the impression that you're not giving up, that you're just going to keep pressing forward despite the losses, despite this, despite that. So I don't know how that plays into what we were just talking about, but there you go. Am I rambling?
I mean,
I
that's
apologize.
no, it's just an analogy for life, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's what it is. It's a great analogy for life. Like, but the weird thing is like, yeah, you can attrition against life and the slow, inevitable march of time, but it's attritioning against you too.
yes,
So, I mean,
yeah,
who's going to win? Time every time.
yeah. It's yeah, exactly. Yeah, every
Yeah, I
time, man.
saw a really great quote the other day that it was, I know I'm going to fuck it up, but the gist of it is we try to stay safe from death our entire life to have a safe death.
Mm,
And it's like, that's a really fucking interesting way of putting it.
yeah, it's true though.
And
You
that's,
know, we know we are aware of its inevitability. Yet, yeah, we want to go peacefully, or we want to try to do everything we can to ensure that it's not going to be an excruciating. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's death wins. In that sense, in that sense of the word. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I don't. And then if you think about that and you think about like other cultures, like prior to us, like the Viking culture, and I don't know if like Roman and the ancient culture, quote unquote, ancient cultures were like this, where they were like, but I know the Viking one because, it's well documented. I don't know how well documented it is, but the Valhalla thing was like an honorable death in battle. Samurais had that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like to honorably die in battle is like the thing.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay,
From yeah, from what I understand, yeah, that is the goal.
that was one of the goals. But the other was to be honorable in life in general too. So
Yeah.
there was a class of Viking warriors called the Varyags, Varyags,
Hmm.
and they were essentially mercenaries. And they were highly prized in the Middle East because the problem that they had there with mercenaries is, so like say you're a sultan or a shah somewhere and you have your mercenaries. Someone else could usurp you by, basically doubling the price that you're paying your mercenaries, and they're mercenaries. They're going to go to the highest bidder, and the mercenaries will kill you, and then that person usurps you. Well, the Variags were loyal. They were like, nope, this is the person that hired me. This is my contract is for. I cannot be unloyal to him. I cannot usurp him. I will not take your pay for double to like kill this guy. So they were like the most highly prized for their loyalty and honor. And it's like, that's really fucking interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
not just like, I want to die in battle in an honorable way, but I also have to live the entirety of my life loyal and honorable.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's fascinating.
Mhm.
There's a quote there in Gladiator, I think, with Russell Crowe, where he talks about eternity echoing like the present. I don't know what the quote is, but talking about like
Neither do I.
things echoing into eternity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I should have looked that up before we. But yeah, I think it is
So did you
fascinating.
know that you were going to try and quote Gladiator 20 minutes
No,
ago?
that I did not foresee. Yeah.
So how are you going to be like, oh yeah, I better look up that Gladiator quote just in case I need it?
Yeah.
I don't know
Pull
where it's
that
going
out.
to go with this crazy guy.
Yeah, pull that out of my back pocket. Oh yeah, Gladiator. Yeah,
You should start keeping quotes like off to the side. Just be like, oh yeah, that one quote.
bro. You know how you have like those shower thoughts, like things you should have said in a conversation or an argument. You know, like oh
Constantly.
my god,
Yeah.
I have that all the time, and it usually involves some quote that I've seen in a movie somewhere. Like oh man, I could have just whipped this out and it would have been perfect. perfect one-liner.
Oh, that'd be great. Most of the quotes I use in like moments like that are like from Team America or Beer Fest or something
Fuck
dumb.
yeah, Beer Fest. Oh my god. Wow, I haven't heard that in for ages, man. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, it's one of the all-time greatest movies, and
It's a good one.
must have watched it hundreds of times.
Yeah, that's one of those films. I have in my mind a list of films from that era that I would that I often went to the theater there in Jacksonville or Wilmington just on the fly, and I would just see whatever was showing. And I'd pop in the theater and just watch it. You know what I mean? Didn't matter what it was. It was like, all right, comedy, drama, didn't matter. But I can just think countless times going to that theater in Jacksonville and just watching random movies. And that's one of those movies. Um, uh, there's a shit ton of films like that. You know that movie Hot Rod with Andy Samberg and
Yes.
remember this one?
I think you were the one that told me about it originally.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorite movies, but I probably wouldn't have known anything about it unless I just kind of decided to go watch it randomly one afternoon. It's still one of the best comedies of all time.
I did enjoy that one. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It's a movie where he actually takes a bike off a sweet jump.
Yes. Yep.
In
It's a
general, Andy Samberg in general is just hilarious with physical comedy, but he also times it perfectly, like with what he's saying. So he does a
yes.
great job.
I agree. I think he's one of the few guys who has perfect timing. You know, his his wit is just like on point. Um,
Yeah, but he also plays that like naive
yeah.
person so well.
Yes.
Where it's, I don't know if naive is, yeah, naive and innocent. He does like that bit perfectly, and it works.
I agree. His Brooklyn Nine stuff. I haven't
Yeah,
watched like full seasons or anything, but I've seen quite a bit of it, and I'm just the whole time I'm thinking this guy is just genuinely funny. He's got it. He has the knack. You know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I guess maybe that's more the recent stuff that he's done, but I think he's great. So
yeah. Well, he also had all the music that he did, The Lonely Island.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm on a boat, bitch. That was some of the
I'm on a
funniest
boat.
fucking
Yeah,
shit ever. I'm like, ah,
or I threw it on the ground. I threw it on the ground.
I don't
It's
remember that one.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to give any context, but it's hilarious. It's very good.
Yes. I'm on a boat came out, or at least I heard it when my sister joined the Navy. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was like right before her first deployment that she went on. So we were just playing I'm on a boat, bitch, like
Yeah,
on loop.
yeah. Are
And
you
her boat experience was nowhere like that.
no? So she was in the Navy or what?
Yeah, my sister went
Oh,
in the Navy. Both my brothers went in the Army. I went in the Marines.
nice. You decided to take the straight and narrow, go Marine Corps. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't want to be like my brothers. I'm like, I don't want to be like the Army. That looks too easy. And go in the Marine Corps.
yeah.
Went on
That,
absolutely zero deployments. I'm like, I made the
yeah.
right choice, but also this wasn't for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Ditto. Yeah.
I have no
I was
complaints or
happy that I.
regrets.
I'm sorry.
No complaints or regrets about
No,
the
no, no. Of
decision.
course not. Yeah. No, it's hard to say on one hand that I knew at the outset that I wasn't going to make a career of it, but I still don't regret doing it. You know, I can I can lay out everything that I gained from that experience. You know, but despite the fact that I didn't retire as a, so.
E7 or 8,
What's that? I'm sorry.
despite the fact that you didn't retire as an E7 or an E8.
Yeah, despite the fact that I didn't retire, I didn't extend, I didn't retire. My hearing sucks, man. So It's not you, it's me.
That's because you stand next to aircraft all the time.
Well, there's that, you know. Which, by the
Actually, I
way,
don't
I should
know.
mention.
Do you still do? Do you
Yes,
still do
yeah,
that?
yes. And I'm going to turn this fan off really quick because I think that's part of the problem that I got going. That should probably help. But yeah, I'm still working on the airplanes, so I never really left the industry. Yeah,
So you still on military birds or you on civilian birds? What are you doing?
military. Yeah, military. So I shortly after shortly after my EAS, I went to school. I got a degree because it was something that I swore to myself that I was going to do. And then right afterwards, I went right back to work on the Osprey. And and I don't know if Johnny mentioned it, but he and I worked together at his current place. So worked on the Osprey for several more years before I moved over to the 35 program. So that's where I
Oh,
currently am.
nice.
Yeah, that's
How do you like those?
yeah.
Are they cool? Like, are they fun?
They
The 35s?
the 35s, are they fun? They're definitely their own thing. You know, I can tell you how big of a shock it was when I went to work on them. This is probably, let me think, maybe 4 years ago when I started on them. Uh, the level of maintenance that I've been involved in keeping these things flying is like a fraction of percent of the sort of time that I put into those Ospreys. You know, I can't speak for other people, so I
Really?
don't. Oh, absolutely, yeah. It,
Huh.
yeah, man. It may have something to do with that they're with the fact that they're fixed wing. You know, I can only speak from my own experience, so I'm always going to be open to someone else's experience. But nevertheless, you know, since I've been on the program, it doesn't compare to the sort of toil that I had to put in when I was on the Osprey. Um, so that, and also the way that they structure their maintenance program with this company that I'm with is a little different than how our experience was in the Marine Corps and even afterwards. It seems like we were given a pretty heavy load of responsibility, and since I've been working on these, I've got this little niche that I'm responsible for. And when it's time to go home, you go home, and you don't take it home with you, so to speak. Um, so yeah, the stress
Yeah.
level is definitely better, I suppose, on these than it was while I was on the Osprey.
I'll say, so after I got out, I went and worked on 47s for a few
Oh
months on an army
yeah,
base because my brother got me a job in his hangar actually.
nice.
And I will say there, well, I was in a phase, a civilian phase shop. So
Hmm.
like all we did was phase and sometimes we'd wash the aircraft. And yeah, there was far less maintenance going on than I was accustomed to seeing, not just from what I was doing, but from what everyone else was doing. I'm like, do you guys fix these birds ever? Like, what the fuck is going
Yeah,
on? They ran one shift, just day crew, and I'm like, you guys don't have a night crew? Who fixes your birds?
right.
And I was just like, I don't get this.
Exactly, man. That's funny hearing you say that because that's similar to what my experience is right now. Like I had
Mhm.
already kind of settled in my mind like this is how aircraft maintenance is. It sucks, but this is what it means to be a maintainer, so you just grow accustomed to this way of life. But yeah, since I started on these, I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Like, why are we not, yeah, one shift, at least where I am right now, just like, geez, there's the level of activity happening is nowhere near what I remember life being like, especially in the
Mhm.
Marine Corps. Just like what? How are these things still flying? you know, but
That's a great question.
I
Yeah,
didn't know you were on
no, from what
47s.
I'm,
Yeah,
oh, no, yeah, I worked on 47. It was like literally for 3 months, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. it,
Yeah.
aircraft are not my passion. I'm like, this is a
Yeah.
great paycheck, but that's all it is a paycheck. And I'm like,
Yep.
I'm gonna go try my hand at college.
Nice.
That didn't work out too well for me either.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
I still have that thought. I'm not too certain that I'm gonna remain in this industry to the day I uh, die. I have ideas, so that definitely resonates with me, man, for sure.
Well, I mean, all I knew is I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to work in a factory. Then I moved
Yeah.
back to my small town where there's not much else other than factories, and I was trying to go to college too, and I didn't like math, but I liked alcohol, and that was a mistake.
You just do 99 bottles of beer on the wall. That's math. You just go on down.
Oh, yeah, that's probably about the extent of the math that I can do. And
It's like, where are we
I,
at? 97. All right, nice.
where are we at? I don't know. There's a whole case missing,
Yeah.
which was a problem. I actually don't drink anywhere near the amount that I used to. It's just like
Yeah.
my running joke is like I have a beer per fiscal quarter.
Nice. That's
Even though
nice.
it's not entirely true because I did a podcast Friday with Bates and Cease, and I had 5 beers during that because it was Bates and Cease, and we were all just drinking and being stupid on this, basically. It's
Yes.
hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll
Yeah.
come out before yours come out, and
Beautiful.
it was beautiful, but I did find out something disturbing. So Cease flight line,
Mm.
apparently just from all the aircraft fuel baths and showers he's taken, got a blood cancer from that, from the benzene in it, from
Of
the jet
course.
fuel. And I was like, what? And he was telling me all about that and how he has to inject himself with the flu once a week to fucking
Ah, man.
prevent too many platelets from forming. And I'm just like, holy shit. He's like, yeah, so just tell everyone to get checked. I'm like, I
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. I've got, dude, I have issues. So there's like nothing internal that I know of, but yeah, I'm sad. I'm sorry to hear that though. I mean, what I'm dealing with is not even, doesn't hold a candle. So, but,
And
yeah, I'm sorry to
is
hear
it
that.
just like general aging stuff or is it like too
I've got
many being
skin
around
shit.
weird chemicals?
I got weird like skin stuff on my hands. Um, and,
Red food and PD 680?
yep. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. In fact, y'all you were talking briefly about it in the last podcast that I listened to of yours. And I was like, "That's it. It's that freaking dry cleaning solvent." So it's you try to laugh about it, but I'm certain that's what it has to be or something similar. So
I
um,
forget
so I'm
where I
I'm
was.
pestering the VA right now to try to take care of all that.
Uh,
And yeah,
I forget where I was, but there was an old master sergeant. Well, I mean, he looked old to me. He was probably like our age now currently. But the instructors were all telling us, like, lad, next time you walk by Master Sergeant, look at his hands. And like they were all look like regular hands, but you're just like ashen white from like lack of moisture. They're like,
yep.
that's what hydraulic fluid does to your skin because it
Ah,
just
dude,
robs the moisture. And
so
I'm just like,
depressing.
oh shit.
Uh, yeah, it makes me sad,
Yeah, I think
but
that
it's
was
truth.
Pensacola.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I knew going in that the hide fluid was going to mess me up. So always wear gloves. And then PD 680 came into my life and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah. It's like, where do you think you're going? Oh, you thought you were covered? Yeah, well,
oh, you're wearing gloves today, huh?
yeah. What about right here? Yeah.
Those gloves? Cute.
I
Gone."
yeah, I know. I thought I was pretty good at that. Again, like I said, I remained in the industry even after I got out. But
Uh,
it doesn't hold a candle to my life when I was in, just the intensity of it all. But so even though I thought I was fairly good about keeping gloves on, oftentimes I didn't. Admittedly, and here we are. So
now I'm currently in an industry environmental cleanup where I'm basically one of the main things I do is after actually the main ingredient of the old school PD 680, which worked very well, TCE trichloroethylene, which is a dry cleaning solvent,
Mm.
does great work on metal and does great work on eating holes in your brains too.
Oh,
Um, well,
the
other than fucking up your skin, then it will go and eat holes in your brain.
the dry cleaning solvent does.
Yep.
Okay, because I've been calling PD 680 a dry cleaning solvent, but I don't know if I'm misspeaking. I don't know if I'm describing that correctly.
So dry
I don't know,
cleaning
Grant.
solvent is a class of chemicals,
Yeah.
and PD 680 was a formula of dry cleaning solvent.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was just so it's like 83282. That's the mill spec for it.
Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. So like
83, 82.
yeah,
Yeah.
83282 is the hide fluid.
Yes. Yep.
And
83282. Yep. Right.
yeah, so it's just the military grade was that name of what it was. There's tons of manufacturers of PD 680. It's just that's the spec of what they want. Give it to us.
Yes. I
So yeah,
see.
so you are correct. It is a dry cleaning solvent. And it's made up of a lot of dry cleaning solvents and then other things to like, what's the word? Dilute it, I guess would be the correct word.
Yeah. Adding water. I don't know.
No, because it's not. So, there's polar and non-polar substances. So it's basically, does it dissolve in water or does it dissolve in gasoline?
Hmm.
And that's the thing with PD 680 is that it's a degreaser.
Hmm.
So it'll degrease like oils and gasoline off of metal because that's what it's predominantly used for. It's getting greases and stuff off of metal, but then it pulls out and it dries cleanly.
Hmm.
So like there's no residue left behind and it also dries very fast,
Hmm.
which is how you know it's volatile. It works
Yeah.
well and fucks you
Hmm.
up.
Yeah. It's really good at this, and it's also good at destroying you. So it seems like you can't have it both. You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too, as my mom would say. You can't have something that's
Yeah.
extremely effective in doing this job and it being safe, you know, for your skin
Just
or
like people.
just like people. Yeah.
If you
Why
want
can't
them to
you
be
have it both?
effective at their job, they're not safe.
Yeah, fair, yeah, exactly. Which begs the question, like, why can't you have really great tasting food and it also being excellent for your health? I mean, there's probably exceptions, but more often than not, it's like this is the most amazing thing I've ever tasted, and I should probably only eat this maybe once every couple months. You know,
Are you referring to ice cream or like steak
I
and
and you know
potatoes?
perhaps ice cream.
Because I could make the argument that steak and potatoes is good for you.
Fair enough, and I'm all about that.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe I should retract that statement. Yeah,
I mean, it's also not what you're eating. Sometimes it's volume. And I
the
could go
volume.
down a whole rabbit hole on this because I like to lift weights and all
Yeah.
that stuff still. So, like, I watch the videos and all that stuff on that. So, like, it's pick your protein and like fist size
Mm,
for every meal, 3 to 4 meals a day. And then you can play around between carbohydrates and vegetables between there, but you're basically playing between one fist size of each or less, depending on how much your stomach can hold. But like the protein requirement, like you want like the fist size because protein like helps rebuild stuff. Carbohydrates give you energy. Your vegetables and fruit are going to give you energy too, but they also have minerals, vitamins, and fibers to keep everything moving. So, boom.
mm,
Yeah. And that's generally how you should be eating. And then from
yeah.
there, it's just figure out what you like and how to like not cover it in mayonnaise. Oh, and the other thing is like, so like, fist size things for the big three macronutrients. And then for your fats and oils, finger.
Mm, okay.
And that's the cheat that like all the like nutritionists tell you to use. So like finger size thing of oil or butter, like spread throughout the meal. I'm not saying like
Yeah,
just throw a dab of
it
oil
wouldn't.
on top, or maybe it's sour cream on a
Mm,
taco. Who knows?
yeah. So what? So in short, what are your recommendations? Like, how often can I eat steak and be completely fine, or it not being detrimental to my health? Because I'm all
You
about the steak, man. I love it.
can eat it every day. I meal
Perfect.
prep mainly
That's all I
steak and
want to hear.
ground beef.
Yeah.
But like I'm eating like, green beans or it's on a salad or, I'm having rice with it, cutting up, it's in a taco that's also filled with vegetables and stuff. Like, yeah, as long as you're not like mashed potatoes, I mean, every once in a while, that's probably not horrible for you. But like if you're
Yeah.
having like grilled potatoes with it or rice with it or some sort of a decent carb and good healthy amount of like vegetables with it, you're fine.
Mm,
But if you're soaking that thing in butter and just eating a pile of like like overeating a pile of mashed potatoes with it and then getting like a big roll with it and you're buttering the shit out of that too, that's where you're screwing yourself.
mm,
But if you're just like, yeah, I'm having a steak and like reasonable sides, there's no problem with that.
yeah.
Also, another huge aspect to it that people don't realize is they'll eat something like that and then feel guilty afterwards.
Mm,
And there is actually some weird connection between psychologically like feeling bad that you ate something that you enjoyed and like I don't know what it is, but it's like then you people go in like this weird spiral of like being like, well, guess I don't have to care about what I'm eating anymore. Then
mm,
there's me where I'm just like, I'm gonna eat a pizza and a pint of ice cream and I don't care.
mm.
And then I just go back to eating like I normally do,
Yeah.
moderately clean, and I'm just like, I'm enjoying life, and
Mm.
sometimes that's what I do to enjoy life is pizza and ice cream.
Deviate a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
respect that, man. That's great. But like,
yeah.
make it the exception. Yeah. Sorry.
Have you heard of the 80/20 rule?
I have, but please explain it to me again.
Well, so it's actually in a lot of things. So it's in
Yeah.
business, it's in marketing, it's in um, dieting also too. But like, it's one of those just like weird ratio things that just works out, and you see it in a lot of things. Like um, how that saying goes, like the more you see it broadly, the more you know. Fuck, I can't remember. It's a Miyamoto Musashi quote. But when you
Mm,
see the path broadly, you can see it in all things. That's what it is.
mm,
But so in business, it's 80% of your business is going to come from 20% of your products.
mm,
So like if you sell um, pants, 20% of your pants models is going to give you 80% of your profit. Same
mm,
thing with vehicles. And like you can look at that at Ford, like their number one selling vehicle is the F series line of trucks.
mm,
That's what they make the most money on. That's what they sell the most of. And like they're never going to get rid of that profit puppy. Um, so for dieting, 80/20 is 80% of the time eat correct and do that. 20% of the time, let yourself enjoy life.
mm,
Like have a zebra cake, have a burrito, go back to your diet plan after that.
mm. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I'm sorry, I
that's good.
interrupted you with
No,
that rant.
I don't even know what I was talking about. So I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
most of
good
my
though.
life.
I think consistency and like just having a routine as far in regards to what I'm eating is good. You know, I have been eating. I mean, I it's very easy for me to eat steak. So anytime it's in front of me, beef, I'll eat it up. But it's comforting to know that it's only going to really be beneficial to me. You know, to stay on that course. So and so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's what I was talking about, but Uh, yeah,
If you can enjoy it and eat it reasonably, I mean,
yeah,
do it. Yeah, it's not going to harm you unless, like I said, you're just overeating in all aspects of life.
yeah,
That's where people get in trouble, and then they blame red meat. Like, oh, my cholesterol's high because of red meat. No, your cholesterol's high because you eat a sleeve of Oreos every other day. Mm. You drink a case of beer like it's water, and then you don't exercise. Like or
yeah.
you're inactive.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Yeah.
Hmm.
I have been eating a lot of eggs lately too, hard boiled. So, and I know that can't be
It's
wrong.
delicious.
Probably. Yeah. Well, since I moved out to Virginia, and even since I've been on this assignment um, overseas, I've been hiking quite a bit. So staying active in that regard is uh, not easy, but it's been like a
Can
uh,
you talk about that assignment? Because I think it's fucking rad.
yeah. Well, I voluntarily brought it up. I didn't know if you're gonna, but one of the highlights of being on the 35 is the opportunities that I've had since I've started, and one of them has been going overseas. Uh, so right now, I'm working in Norway. I'm not in Norway at the moment. I'm actually in Virginia on uh,
Mm.
on home leave, whatever you want to call it. But uh, I've been working in Norway. I'll be there um, into next year, and working with the local military there, and just working normal business hours, but then getting to go out and explore on my off time, and it's been great, man. About I've been there for about 3 or 4 months now, and it's been good. Yeah,
Excited to do a winter there.
that I'm not holding my breath. I'm hearing a lot of negative things about it. Not only the cold, but the lack of sunlight. So I guess come October, early November.
Is it that far north?
Well, we're not, we're a couple hours south of the Arctic Circle where I am.
Hmm.
But everything that I've gathered from the people that I work with, I should expect, you know, starting in the winter to just have next to little or little to no daylight at all until the following spring. So, whereas we're getting tons of daylight even in like through midnight. Like
I
the
know
sun
I'm
is.
in Anchorage, Alaska right now,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah, I knew that.
similar.
Exactly. I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you said that because I think you're on the exact same latitude that I am. So it's probably the same
Oh,
that I'm what I
yeah, it's
of
not
what
gonna
I'm
be.
experiencing. What's
Yeah,
that?
so I started here in February, and so I caught the tail end of winter, but it was still, I'd say mornings were about 0 Fahrenheit, and then it would creep up to 20 during the day and then back down. But like I was getting to work at 7 in the morning and we weren't getting sunlight till 9.
Mm,
And then by the time we're leaving at 5-ish, the sun's going down too. And it's just like, all right, perfect timing. So like,
okay.
starting my mornings with a headlamp on, I'm just like, this is actually kind of fun.
Mm,
And there was something about like, I'd say the lack of humidity in the air made it bearable.
mm,
But there also wasn't a lot of wind where I was. So I'm like, this is nice. So I just had like snow pants on and like a hoodie. And I was just like, we're good. And some hand warmers because my hands get cold easily.
yeah. Same here. And what time of year was this that you're talking about? The sun coming up at around 9. Like, is that the winter time?
That was, yeah, that was right around February, March.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't horrible, horrible, I'd say, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed like the winter hikes too.
Mm,
And yeah, well, I liked it. I'm actually kind of like weirdly like, it's so hot. It's 70 outside right now.
yeah.
It's such a weird thing to say because
Yeah.
2 years ago I was working in Tennessee, like an hour north of Memphis,
Mm.
and every day was like 98 with 98% humidity, and I'm like, this isn't bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just sweating as I walk.
Yeah. Yeah. Just sweating thinking about it. As soon as I landed down here a couple days ago, I was actually looking forward to the heat and the humidity because similar to uh, where you were in Alaska, the air is very dry. Um, like it would get up to 80. It has several days even since I started. It would get up to about 80 Fahrenheit. Um, but I don't really know where I'm going with this. But it was consistently cool, and it has been even since the summers began. And I know it's going to only drop, in a matter of weeks. But I was just waiting to get on the plane and land down in Virginia to just get some humidity and something a little more familiar. Uh, so oddly enough, I'm actually enjoying the humidity right now. I'm even sweating here right now talking to you. It's very humid, and it's what, almost 8 o'clock over here. So
Yeah, I mean, that's normal for the mid-south, I'd call it.
yeah,
Mid-Atlantic. Virginia's the mid-Atlantic. Yeah,
yeah.
no, so when I was home the other 2 week, almost a week and a half ago, like me and the girlfriend have like the garden, and I was outside playing in the garden every day, just like poking my tomatoes, be like, come on, grow faster. I want to make sauce out of you. And
Mm-hmm.
like pulling peppers and stuff like that. And I was just like, this heat, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't feel bad, but Western New York's like 80s, doesn't get into the 90s really, unless it's ridiculous.
You're right. So you've been growing a lot of vegetables, have you? Tomatoes and peppers and whatnot.
I got tomatoes, peppers, onions, potatoes, beans, and sunflowers.
Damn.
Oh, we're also doing pumpkins too.
Wow.
Yes, because the girlfriend wanted to do the pumpkins because she owns a flower shop and
Mm.
she wants all the pumpkins for Halloween decorations. And I'm like, well, I want them to make pies out of. And
Mm-hmm.
so, we have a nice symbiosis there. It's
The
just like
win-win.
our
Yeah.
our goals align. She's
Yeah.
like, good, because I like pumpkin pies. And I'm like, great.
I'd like to know how that turns out, man, because I've seen pumpkin pie in the can, but I've never witnessed anyone make pumpkin pie from a pumpkin. That's something that I'm.
I've done it many times.
Have you? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the here's what I'll say is the main difference between pumpkin pie from a can and pumpkin pie that's homemade filling. So, pumpkin pie from a can, they process the entirety of the pumpkin into the can, rind and all.
Really?
That's why it has that more orange color
Mm.
when you like pop the lid off and you like look at it, you're like, huh. So if you were to take a pumpkin and cut the rind off, so it's just the meat separated from the seeds, and so there's just like that like inchish of like meat in there, depending on the size of the pumpkin, and you start boiling that down,
Mm.
and you know how like spaghetti squash will get like all stringy and stuff,
Mm.
but like
Mm-hmm.
other squashes will just you can just mash it like a potato. It's like that. You can just start mashing it like a potato. Well, all the water starts releasing out of the pumpkin while you're boiling it down. So it just like creates this, it makes its own soup for itself. And then you
Mm.
can just I use a stick blender, and you can just blend it as smooth as you want, and then keep boiling it down and like getting the water out, so it's like whatever um, consistency, is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Viscosity.
Mm.
So it has the amount of water that you want in it to it, so that you can add the pumpkin spice, which is cinnamon and nutmeg, and then
Mm.
you also add brown sugar, egg, and heavy cream, and that's how you make a pumpkin pie. And you'll
Beautiful.
notice that the color is different and the taste is, I don't
Better.
want to say sweeter, but
Mm.
there is a difference in taste because there's no rind
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
in it.
I was not aware of the fact that they included the rind in your store bought pumpkin pie.
Well, I mean,
That's a,
they're industrial processing these things. They
yeah,
have like what, a few weeks, maybe a month to
yeah,
get as many pumpkins as they can into a can
yep,
for a year.
yeah.
Because,
It's like your average chicken nugget. They throw that whole chicken in there, man.
I know. Doesn't mean it's not delicious.
No, it is amazing. Yeah, no
It just means
complaints.
don't look the gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no
Yeah.
complaints.
Yeah, that's what they're just trying to get pumpkins through, and they don't have time to like, let's be
Yeah,
perfectly honest, paying
no,
some fucking migrant to cut the rind off. They're like, fucking smash that shit in there and cook it.
throw it in there, man. Yep, yep.
Yeah, that's how it's done.
I
At
love
least
it.
that's what I was told by, there's a it's
By
Lakeshore
Sage,
Pumpkin up by me.
by
And
Jack Skellington, the
oh,
pumpkin
Jack
king.
Skellington does it the best.
I have a little experience making pies. Usually, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whenever the holidays roll around, I'll make it a point to make some sort of pie that I've never made before to sort of challenge myself. I'm not inclined. I'm not a culinary, you know, sort of individual, but I do like to challenge myself. So I'll just pull a random pie recipe off the shelf, and I've done it probably half a dozen times now. I'll just find something like a boysenberry or elderberry or some obscure berry that I've never messed with before, or apples, and I'll make some new pie that I've never tried before, and it usually turns out,
One that I
yeah.
learned about within the last 2 years, which my girlfriend's sister is the best pie in the world, and I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently it's huge. It's called a grape pie.
Mm.
So it's
Is it?
made with
Yeah.
Concord grapes, like Concord jelly, that kind of
Yep.
grape,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the grape that grows up by my hometown. And I didn't even know this was a thing. And like, yeah, it's just mashed down and I don't know, sugared up and turned into a pie. And I'm like,
Mm.
huh.
That sounds very good.
So if you're feeling frisky,
Yeah. You're
look up
feeling
grape pies.
adventurous. Yeah.
This year, when you're doing your pie adventures, if you don't feel like doing a pumpkin pie from scratch,
Yeah. Kind of broke up there for a second, but one
I'm not
one thing I've
breaking up with
noticed
you.
is, yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I
It's fine.
said I'm not going to break up with you. I can't
Oh,
quit you, Chase Wantland.
I can't quit you. Oh man,
I don't know why that's funny.
best movie.
It's one of Johnny Euro's favorites.
Yeah, that's what he tells me, man. He won't shut up about it. It's kind of annoying.
If there's two things people from Illinois love, it's Brokeback Mountain and talking about Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, number one and number two on the list.
Number one, have you seen Brokeback Mountain? Number two, don't steal my copy of Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, the sequel was okay, but I think the original, probably, yeah,
There was a sequel?
yeah, yeah. No,
I didn't know that.
uh, the Dark Knight Rises. Never seen the Dark Knight.
Oh, is that what it was?
Dark Knight. I got nothing. Yeah, everyone
I
wants
didn't
to
know
know
that was.
Joker's back. Everyone wants to know Joker's backstory. Just tell them watch Brokeback Mountain. There's his backstory.
I'm gonna have to
Uh,
start using that one. Oh Christ,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
that's terrible or
No, that's
amazing.
amazing. Listen, nobody ever asked me that question. Like, hey, what do you think the Joker's background is? They're like, Brokeback Mountain. I'm going to start using that now. The
Yeah,
next chance I get, I
yeah,
really hope I get one. I
absolutely.
might have to create one.
Everyone's so intrigued with Joker's backstory. Like they just want to. Where did he come from? Why does he do what he? Well, there's your answer. Or you could do a Knight's Tale, whatever one he was a knight in. But I think Brokeback is a,
Yeah,
is a much funnier story.
he was in A Knight's Tale with Keira Knightley.
Yes. Was it Keira Knightley? Okay.
It was Keira Knightley.
That's ironic. A Nightly Tale.
And her to be in a movie with knights than a British lady.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think she's British.
I think she is. I think she is.
Excuse me. I
Well,
don't know. They don't pay enough to know where movie stars are from.
a lot of them are British. I spent a lot of my time studying movies, not on purpose. It's just what I like to do. But oftentimes the good ones are from Great Britain. I don't know what they're. I don't know why that is, but the ones that really stand out tend to be uh, British. I don't know if I should say English, but British. Yeah.
Well, Great Britain is the combination of Ireland, of England, Scotland, Wales, something else.
England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
I think right.
That sounds right, because I
That,
didn't want to say Ireland, but I'm like, maybe it's Ireland? It probably get smacked by the Irish for saying that.
yeah, I might have misspoke, but I think that's right. The United Kingdom, perhaps.
Yeah,
I should know
sounds
this.
correct. Why should you know that? You're American.
Well, no, fair enough. I should know other
Yeah.
countries' uh, histories.
Yeah, you should know just enough to not get your ass kicked when you're talking about them in front of the people from that country.
Exactly. See, I want to do my homework in the event that I find myself in a conversation where I have to, you know, start
I
talking about.
mean, you're not working around Irish people right now. You're with the Ouija's, so
That's
you've got to
true.
know enough about the Ouija's.
Yes, and I'm doing my
Also, I
fair
don't know
share
if
of
you're
homework.
allowed to call them that.
The Ouija's, is that what they call themselves?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's news to me, but I mean, you might be right.
I mean, it sounds like what you'd call Norwegians.
It, if it's not, I think we should start it for sure. I'll tell you this though, man. Like I've spoken quite with quite a few of them, and I'm not the one to bring up politics or American history, but they'll tend to bring it up themselves. Most, if not all, of the Norwegians that I've spoken with know a great deal about American history and American politics. Like just like, I mean, maybe it's not surprising, but it's quite astonishing. You'll just talk to random people, and they know quite a bit about your own history. You know,
Uh,
uh, on down to like who was president when, and when did this happen? What was this about? And it's just like, where am I? It's
that's wild.
astonishing. What's that?
I said that's wild.
It is wild, but it's true. They know quite a bit of American history,
Huh.
and you know, I don't know if these street interview videos are any indication. It seems like the average American doesn't know a whole lot about their own history. So it's kind of sad,
No,
but
I did know
I
that
could be.
also because yeah, I've seen all the same ones. It's hard not to go. Damn it, this is my country.
I know, I know. It's wild. Like I want to believe that the interviews that I've watched don't represent the majority of people, but I don't know, man. It seems more and more. I'm beginning to think that I don't want to speak out of term. I could be wrong, but there's just I don't feel like there are
I
enough
think a
Americans
lot of
who
them
understand their own history.
have
Yeah,
to be edited for the entertainment aspect of
yeah.
it.
There's that. Yeah, yeah.
Like they're not showing it raw, uncut, where they're like, I mean, the ones that they're doing in New York City where they're walking up to people. How many people said, "Fuck you, get away from me"?
Right.
Like they're not
Yeah.
showing that. It's not like 3 hours raw, unedited of like, hey,
Right.
do you know who Grover Cleveland was? Yeah, he was the guy that got stuck in a bathtub.
Yeah. Cleveland from Family Guy. Right.
Yeah. they're showing that answer. They're not showing that here's the fat ass who got stuck in a bathtub.
Did
They're
he
not
get stuck
showing
in the
that
bathtub?
part. I believe it was Grover
No,
Cleveland.
you're probably right. Yeah, that
If
sounds
I'm
right.
wrong, like just ask the Ouija's, they'll tell you.
Yeah, they'll fill me in.
Like, "Hey,
Yeah,
which president got stuck in a bathtub?" They'll be like, "Oh, it was the Grover Cleveland, yeah."
yeah, the Grove of Cleveland. Yeah, it's more Swedish, I
I don't
think.
know if that's what they sound like.
It's more Swedish. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't
Here
be.
I am.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be what?
Speaking down, I've met amazing Norwegians out there, and they don't sound anything like the impression that I just gave. That's the first thing.
That's probably why
Uh,
I should be doing it, not you. You should be like, now, don't talk about my Ouija friends like that. They stand on boards. That's right. There's Ouija boards.
yeah, I gotta be honest. Before I came out there, I hadn't the slightest clue of what to expect. You know, I knew that I had a few offhand impressions of what Scandinavia was like, but I felt like it was a sort of cold turkey before I got there.
Mhm.
Um, my screen is playing with me here. I'm trying to. Okay, looks like it's all right. But so far so good. The
Hold on a second.
people
We
there
got
are
to
great.
pause for a minute.
What's
We
up?
ran out of space.
Uh,
Technology is fantastic. So I believe we were discussing the best way to eat spaghetti without using utensils, but keeping it off white shirts.
yeah, never wear white. That's rule number one.
I mean, yeah, it's probably a good thing to do when eating spaghetti. Doesn't matter if it's cream sauce or red sauce or pesto sauce or
You know
creamy
what's
pesto.
crazy? You know what's crazy, man? I honestly had spaghetti tonight for dinner. No lie.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, I think that's divine intervention there. Something's going on here.
I mean, it's
Universe,
just delicious.
it is good. It's good and it's easy.
I got I got some leftover pasta. I might Some people call it leftovers, some people call it meal prep. To me, it's the same thing. But I got some pasta in the fridge.
Yeah, meal prep. That's a relatively new term. I don't recall using that term back in the day. Do you prep your meals? Yeah, yeah, man. I'm a meal prepper. It could just be me. Could just be talking nonsense.
I think it's more common in like the weightlifting community. Like I'd always seen it
Oh,
growing up in like the magazines like that. So to me, it
yeah,
wasn't an odd term.
yeah. Right.
Because, like back then, it was like, the magazines were like, get big and jacked like this bodybuilder. By the way, he's all natural. No, he's not. But this is like
Yeah,
what he eats and like what they do and like tells you like how to be that guy. And like one of the things is like, they take you like through their week or through like a day of like their eating and meal prepping and stuff like that. So like that concept had never been foreign to me.
fair enough. Yeah,
But, I could never afford the steroids to do that.
yeah. Couldn't afford the juicing. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's a ridiculous amount of money, like $3,000 a month.
Oof.
That's what I've been told. I don't know the
Yeah,
truth to that.
yeah, yeah. A friend told you. Yeah. No, I got you.
Friend of a friend who robbed a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. That is.
I mean, if
Yeah, my.
that's the best answer that I have to that, that's the best answer I have.
Yeah, yeah. You plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So what were we talking about? Norway, F-35s, how to be successful at life.
Yeah, successful. Yeah, we were talking. I think we were talking about 35s. So, or Norway. It's a beautiful country. Wouldn't live there. I think I'm happy here in the in the States. And nothing against Norway per se. I think it's just I think I'm sort of the older I get, the more of a homebody I'm becoming. So I'm pretty
Oh, I
content.
feel you on that.
Yeah, that's purely what I'm saying. It's just
I'd like to find my exit strategy from traveling for work.
yeah. I you know it is a lot of people's aspiration to see the world, to go here, to go there, and it's great. It's a good thing. It has plenty of advantages, as you know, as you're well aware of. But it's like, but do I want this to be my end game? No, no. That's where I am.
Um, I'm there too, where
That's
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's not just that it's like, I've had enough. It's like, I want the calm, I want the stability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, crap. And like, I've painted myself into this corner, so it's like, all right, how do I get out?
Yes, sir. Yep.
What do I do?
Yeah. For me, I mean that definitely resonates. I had a lot that I felt like I had to prove to myself and others, you know, which explains a lot of the excuse me decisions that I've made career wise. But now it's just kind of like, all right. I think that time is coming to a close. I don't know if it was exactly. I don't want to say it wasn't worth it, but I am
Right.
wanting to. I am wanting to settle down. So we'll just say that.
You got a lady out there, or
No, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of near misses. No, nothing at the moment. So I do
near
have a dog.
misses? That sounds like an incident report.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of talking code here, but no, I've had a few shoulda, coulda, wouldas, like, but no, no steady relationship at the moment. I've got a dog. That's where I am. So he and I'm missing him at the moment. He's actually back in Norway at the moment. So I'm a
You
little
left your dog in Norway?
yeah, he's pretty resilient. He'll take care of himself. No, I'm leaving him with my landlord out there. So
Ah,
yeah, my landlord's a good
that
guy.
makes more sense.
Yeah, uh, and he's an
I
American.
figured you left him with someone.
Yeah, I did. I did. I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, I left him with a pretty dependable person. So I check in on him every day, or they text me to tell me that he's okay. So um, yeah, man, I've had him now for 7 years, and he's a lifesaver for sure. Good dog.
Mhm.
Um, all the things, all the good things that people say about their dogs. I can concur. They
Hey
do a
man,
lot.
that's good.
Yeah, man. He's a little guy. He's about yay big, about 15 pounds. Maybe. See, my hands can't even fit. There we go. About that big. Um,
Listen, I say this all the time because I've had a ton of wiener dogs in my life. Small dogs, small poops, small
yeah,
problems.
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. What's funny is, I had no real desire to have a small dog. I simply needed a small dog because of how often I like to move around. Um,
Uh-huh.
and so it's like I can't do this with a big dog. So if I want a dog and I want to keep up with this lifestyle, I'm gonna have to get a something that can come along with me, and here we are. Um,
I mean, that makes sense.
yeah, it's definitely worked out. Now the beauty is that he thinks he's a big dog. He aside from like the aggressiveness, he's very much like Scrappy Doo. Remember Scrappy Doo, the cartoon with Scooby Doo and Scrappy
Yes, I
Doo?
do.
He thinks he's a big dog, so he wants to kind of so that helps. That helps. Um, but he'll fit in the
So is he
cabin.
trying to like hunt down a moose out there?
Is it any trouble to hunting down a moose? You said
No, is the dog trying to hunt down the mooses down there in
no,
Norway?
no, no. So
Have you seen a moose there yet?
I have, yeah, I've seen plenty of moose, reindeer, um, roe deer. I've seen some rabbits out there, ginormous rabbits. Yeah, I've seen a handful of wildlife. You know what? I mean, honestly, dude, like I've never been to Alaska, but from what I've gathered, it's very similar to Alaska, the climate and even the wildlife.
I
So
would say so too, based off of the random things I know about Norway. But
yeah,
I'd say the big geological differences there's the fjords.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I can't hear the word fjord and not think Monty Python. Immediately, my mind goes to Monty Python. There's like this really obscure Monty Python reference anytime I hear the word. But anyway, but yeah, there's plenty of fjords there, man. And they're gorgeous. They are beautiful.
I think of you remember the Far Side comics?
Oh yeah, Gary Larson. Yeah.
So there was one where it was people walking along the fjords, but there was like Ford cars like drawn in there, so it said the Fords of Norway.
Yes.
And that's the one I always think of.
Beautiful. Well, mine is it's kind of a deep dive, but there's a sketch where uh, a, a customer walks into a pet shop and he's got this cage with a dead parrot. Are you familiar with the dead parrot sketch? Anyway,
Yes.
yeah, the shop owner tries to convince the guy that the parrot's not dead. You know, he starts giving them all these excuses. And one of the excuses he tells them is that he's pining for the fjords. He's pining for the fjords. Pining for the fjords. So stupid. But anytime I hear someone talk about the fjords, I'm like pining for the fjords. So, uh, yeah,
That would be cool to see though. Bunch of
yeah,
fjords.
yeah. It's gorgeous. I got to flip my hat up here so you can see my. It is pretty, man. There's a city that I went to. I'm sure there's several, but I went to this one city where you're kind of on this plateau mountaintop looking down toward the city that's at the base of this mountain, and these cruise ships are just coming in. They're coming well within like inland, you know, I don't know how many miles from the shore, but these massive cruise ships are just coming right into the middle of the country by way of these fjords, and then the tourists get off and they do their thing. It's just gorgeous though. I've personally never seen anything like it. It's very unique. Um, the most outstanding thing though has been these stop churches, which I think you uh, saw on my Instagram post the other day. But there's
Yeah,
a
I did see
handful
the
of
one.
bro. I've taken a bunch of pictures. I'm trying to put like these artsy photos on my Instagram, but I've taken plenty of photos of them, and they're amazing. They're really cool, just for the sheer fact that they're, I don't know if ancient is the right word, but they're old, man. Like they're all, most of them were built in the 1100s, and they're still standing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
pre-Christian Scandinavia
Yes.
churches. So like those are Viking era churches. Which do you know the history of Christianity in Scandinavia?
I've got kind of a cursory understanding of it, but go ahead.
The short story is basically the king woke up one day and said, "Hey, we're all Christian now."
Mm-hmm.
And then they started burning the history books. So there's not a lot of history books on like Viking culture and stuff. Like a lot of it actually comes from Iceland, where there's like a few things still there.
Yeah.
But those churches, were like the Viking churches, and so they're like the same build, the same wood, the same like all that stuff, and like traditional style is like the long ships. So
Yes.
like that's like the history of it.
Yes.
That's the short history that I understand, at least.
Yeah. Well, I eavesdropped on a few of the tours that were going on there. I wasn't able to go inside. I've seen a few of them now, but they were saying that the style of the construction was in keeping with the way that they built their ships. So like when you look up at the vaulted ceilings, they very much look like the hull of a ship. Just simply outstanding. One picture that I took was of it was a relief, like a wooden relief. By the way, for our listeners out there, these churches are entirely made of pine from top to bottom, and completely. You know, but a couple of the releases would be like a face of Odin, the Greek, or not the Greek, the the Norse god, the Greek god Odin. Uh,
He's a
and
great
then
god. He
yeah,
might have been Roman.
yeah, and then but they incorporate these Christian images into the same woodwork. So there would be some sort of allusion to like a lion from the Bible. So there was like this blend. I mean, at least according to the guy that I was eavesdropping on, he was saying that they were at this point where they were trying to blend the two cultures together, which I thought was pretty fascinating. But I don't know. I've never seen anything
I
like
mean,
it.
it is fascinating. I
Say
mean, a
again?
lot of like it is fascinating because like the Santa
Yeah.
Claus tradition came out of that area of the world too.
Yeah. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
doesn't love
so
Santa? Yeah.
yeah, that's a great question. Who doesn't love Santa? But I mean, that's where it came from. It's just like man in the red suit with like forget all of it because like their old Saint Nicholas one I think is like different than like what modern Santa is.
Hmm.
There's like a lot to it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like
The
that
reindeer.
entire history. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
do you know the difference between reindeer and caribou?
Um, I was gonna make up some joke, but no, no. What's the difference?
Oh no,
One
it's not like jelly and
bigger of
jam.
an. Huh?
It's not like jelly and jam.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think it's reindeer are the one that are farmed. Caribou are the wild ones, but there's no
Oh,
difference between the two.
okay. All right. I
Yeah,
I don't know, man. That makes sense though.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you have them on a farm like a cow, it's a reindeer.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough. I know I ran into a herd of them. Not ran into, but I had to slow down as I was driving through a herd of them um, near the. I was on. I've taken a lot of road trips out there, and I have seen a few, but I did not know this. I don't know. I will say though, like I'm from Texas originally. Have you ever seen a jackrabbit? Like or in
yes.
Arizona or Texas or whatever. They're fairly large, right? They're big. Um, I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 times the size of a typical little cottontail. You know, the rabbits out there are the same size. They're gigantic. They're striking how large they are. So that was something to write home about. Like, oh my goodness, Viking
Look at
rabbit.
these tasty rabbits.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a pretty neat place. I've
Oh, it definitely looks it.
yeah, dude. Yeah, my landlord he he's let me or he's lended me his fishing pole and his gear. He's like, yeah, take this out. I'm not very far from the shoreline where I'm living at the moment, and he's
Okay.
I haven't taken it out. I need to take him up on his offer, but I have all this stuff at my disposal right now if I want to kind of go out and catch myself a I don't know salmon or a cod or something along those lines. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's indigenous there to the
I'm not sure.
area. I'm sure there is salmon, but yeah, I caught a salmon. Fuck, it must have been over a month ago now. Up here, there was just a random salmon week. The lady at the coffee shop told me about it, and I'm like, might as well. I got nothing going on this weekend. Caught a salmon and mailed it back home, and I was just like, huh.
Yeah,
Like, I haven't been fishing in over 10 years. I caught a fish.
it's it's great. And you mailed it home, you said?
Tastiest. Yeah, because there's, entire industry up here for like people that go on those type of adventures and want to send the stuff back. And I'm just like, sweet, perfect.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, what am I going to do with 9 pounds of salmon in the course of 1 week? I'm like, well, I got to get it back home. So
Hmm.
just mail it home. I don't want to bring it on the plane with me. And it's a good thing I didn't because my flights got delayed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm like, man, I'm glad I mailed that, even though it was $200.
Oof. Sheesh.
Well, I mean, because they have to overnight it.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
they pack it in ice? I'm assuming they do. I don't know. Or no.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
do
something?
believe they did.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I know they like deep froze it, packed it in something, put it in like a cooler box. When my girlfriend was back home, so I sent it to her house. I'm like, hey, there's salmon coming, just so you know.
Yeah.
She's like, sweet.
Keep your eye out for the salmon on the way.
I mean, she knew. She like sent me a picture when it got there. She's like, it's here. I'm like, leave it on.
That's cool. That's comforting. So, but you got to eat some of it, yeah? Did you?
Oh yeah, we've had it a few times.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that's what matters. I have a random memory, dude. I was going to bring this up. A random memory of you. I don't. It's always like stayed in my head since I think I first met you. It's not even a big deal. There's nothing really that significant of it. But I was going to mention this a second ago when I was
Hmm.
talking about hard boiled eggs. But when I used to work third shift, you and I were often eating at the chow hall together, like during mid rats. I just remember for like
Yes.
long stretches of time there, you
I
and
think I know
me
where
and
this is going.
yeah, but you had this concoction that you called chicken sex. Do you remember this?
Yeah,
Oh my
I do.
god, I'm not crazy, right?
No,
Yeah,
you're not. So I cut the hard boiled egg in half. I take the
you're
package of
fucking
mayonnaise and
yeah.
then the package of hot sauce. I'd squeeze the mayonnaise on and then squeeze the hot sauce on. That was chicken sex.
This chicken sex. It's just stuck with me this whole time. And dude, I swear to God, anytime I'm making hard boiled eggs, or I'm just that just like memory just pops in my head. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that until you said hard boiled eggs at the chow hall. I'm like, oh, I know where this
Yeah.
is going.
Oh man. Yeah, and it was like a routine because I just remember being there, and you always had. I say always, I'm probably exaggerating, but I just remember that being
Uh,
a
Probably
normal thing.
75% of the time.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Get an
I
omelet, grab two hard boiled eggs, and
yeah,
whatever else was in the line.
yeah. I went for whatever was quick and easy. So it was like cereal, hard boiled eggs, and those hamburgers that they would like whip up, and and then we'd sit there and eat probably longer than I should have, an hour or something, and go back to work.
I don't think we sat there that long.
I feel like I was there longer than I was supposed to be, but that was like the joy of my shift was sitting in the chow hall during mid rats. Just,
Yeah, I did enjoy
good
that
memories.
also.
Yeah. Just a random memory, but and doesn't really feel very long ago either. Like it just feels like it doesn't feel very long ago at all.
Do you ever just like think back to that time and I can feel the humidity and I can smell the smells when I just like
Oh yeah.
put my mind back to like that building where I'm just like, my God, it wasn't that long ago. It's
Yeah.
still there. Like it's imprinted in me.
Oh yeah. For sure, man. It's I mean, I suppose a lot of people could relate to that sentiment, but yeah, it's still like that's the thing. It's one of those things where a part of me never left it. So I actually take those sights and those smells and those whatever it is that you're describing. I take it with me everywhere. So even like I said, I'm still kind of doing a lot of the same stuff. I'm in a different place now, but I had like these cemented memories in my mind, and the way that I approach people and the way that I approach situations all stem from my time there. You may not be going there with what you're saying, but But yeah, those sights and those smells and everything, just, they stay with you for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it
I
wasn't
have
until,
it like,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, that hangar where we were was a dank, not a very well kept uh, place. In a manner of speaking, it was another good example of the sort of structure that they did everything in their power to keep running, but it wasn't like a clean place by any stretch of the imagination. You know that it was just something you got used to. You know.
It was good enough to not get rid of until they had to get rid of it.
Yep, it was good enough. Yep, and that's the Marine Corps for you right there. So,
Yeah. But yeah, they tore that down because I think if they would have left it up for a total of 50 years, it would become a historic building. And then they would have to maintain it as such also,
uh,
which would be a lot of upgrades.
right, that makes sense. Honestly, that hadn't even occurred to me, but that makes sense. The
Well, that's what I was told why they tore it down.
Okay. Well, there's a hangar. It looks like a carbon copy of that hangar. Again, I could be like, my memory could be totally off, but there is a hangar in Southern Maryland where I used to work, where Johnny is currently working. That in my memory, it's like a carbon copy of that hangar where 204 and
Yeah.
VMX were, like the same blueprints, is what I'm saying. Um,
She did send me a picture from like the inside of where he was working, and I'm like,
does it look the
I
same?
know the hangar got pulled down, but like, are you in? Like, where are you?
Yeah,
Like, I actually thought that from like, and it's
yeah.
just like the Osprey and like the one of the side walls, and I'm just like,
Wait a second. Yeah, like
yeah,
a
and I was just
Twilight.
staring at it like,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. So I'm probably not crazy, dude. It probably is the same. It's probably the same blueprints. Like the arched building, like 1940 something construction. Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, and for the sake of historicity or whatever you want to call it, I hope they don't tear that one down. I like old stuff, you know. So even if it needs to be condemned and they can't house any, birds in there any longer, I hope they keep the thing up. That's
I
just
mean,
me.
they can always fix the things and like make them museum
A museum. Yeah.
storage places.
Yep. Something like that, I think would be worth it. You know.
Yeah, because I think the big thing, probably at least on the East Coast, would be um, making them hurricane resistant. And uh, do the cranes still work for picking aircraft parts out? And if you can't pick the aircraft parts out with a crane, you can make it a museum hangar if it's that old.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, dress it up real nice, clean the bird shit out, park some old birds in there.
Absolutely. Yep. Make it real nice.
Oh yeah.
There's a hangar. I was in Oregon for about a year, 2018. Which, by the way, I was working on 47s out there, doing shop maintenance.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say that earlier, but not to the extent that I think you were. But I was doing like back shop stuff, and anyway, not very far from where I was, the Spruce Goose was parked. The big old wooden.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Big old wooden bird.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and they actually built a hangar around that airplane. Well, I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what they said. They parked it and then they just built the structure around it because of its size.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that thing was huge, if I
a big.
remember correctly.
It was pretty big. Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Obviously not as big as some of our modern birds, but still enormous.
Yeah, so my site that I'm currently working on in Anchorage is on the Air Force Base, and I'm at the end of the runway, so I get to see all sorts of aircraft flying over my head all the time. And those
Yeah.
C5s are big.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. And we got a new health and safety guy, and he used to be a refueler on refueling birds for the Air Force. And he was telling me, he's like, every time those things land, the landing gear breaks. I'm like, what?
Mm. Wow.
He's like, because they're that heavy. I'm like, that's wild. Like maybe it wasn't the landing gear, but he said something breaks.
Something. Yeah. Something gives.
Something breaks every time it lands. And I'm just like, that is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine that. Like a bird comes in, it's just let's play the game. What broke? Go
Yeah.
find it.
Start making bets. Yeah. What do you got? Shock strut. All right. This guy, what, drag strut. All right. Got $5 on the. Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't even want to know. And it's like, oh, nothing here. Well, let's check the rest of the airframe and superstructure.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be a headache. That'd be a headache for sure. It's like we know something broke. We just need to troubleshoot, figure out where it broke.
We just don't know where it is. It's like,
Yeah. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be rough. That'd be rough. Hmm.
that would be. I don't think I'd enjoy that. But on the bright side, it wouldn't be like crawling into one of them weird small spaces because it's a big bird.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty ridiculous. I've seen pictures. I want to see. I want to say that I saw one in an air show, but I'm not positive that it was a C5. It probably was, but yeah, I remember just being struck with how massive it was. It almost didn't seem possible for it to fly. You
I
know,
know
I
what
don't
you
know.
mean. Like it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. Like the laws of physics don't. There's limits.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I always wanted to see though? Live space shuttle launch.
Me too. Yep.
That would be so cool.
Yes, sir.
Like even from like because you have to view it from like what is it like a mile or 5 miles back,
Yeah.
and like people have told me that it's still like ridiculously loud and like
Hmm.
powerful, and you're just like, well, that sounds amazing.
Have you watched any of these SpaceX launches or no?
No, I haven't.
I've seen them from quite a ways away. Nothing like what you're describing. But there's a place called Whidbey Island right across the bay from where I worked in Southern Maryland, and you could watch a rocket launch from Whidbey Island occasionally. That was pretty neat, but nothing. Not I mean, not even on this near the scale of what you're describing. Still pretty
I'm
awesome.
talking about like the NASA ones.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I've never seen the shuttle, but I would have loved to have seen that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those ones where someday I'll see it, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's also one of those things where it's like, all right, cool, I saw it. I guess I felt it in my chest, but like I can see the same thing on TV, but would it be just as impactful? Would I feel the same way? Like it's just like, did I just, or would I go, huh? All right,
Yeah.
here it goes. There it is.
There it is.
Now what do I do with the rest of my day?
Yeah. Ice cream. All right.
Let's
Yeah.
go get some pints of ice cream.
Yeah.
That was my shower thought this morning, where I was just like, yeah, I'm going to tell people at work that did a few pints this weekend of ice cream.
Of ice cream. Yeah. Rocky Road. Yeah. Have
Actually, I
you
think it
uh
was something else.
have you uh have you had any ginger beer before, like Krabby's or any other brand of ginger beer?
I've had it in a Moscow Mule.
Okay. Well,
I forget which kind it was. It had some sort of a seal on it. Yeah,
yeah, I'm no connoisseur at all, but I've had my fair share in the last few months. Like there's a wide variety of them out there where I've been working, and I'm definitely loving it, man. They're the few that I've had are delicious, and they don't really do a number on my stomach like most beers do these days. So I can
that's
definitely,
good.
yeah, dude. There's a brand. I mean, I'm sure it's just one of several, but there's a English brand called Krabby's ginger beer, and it's my go-to. Very, very good. I got bugs all over me. I'm sitting on the front porch right now. I've got bugs flying all over me right now.
Oh, oh, but it is 9 o'clock over there, so it's to be expected.
Yeah, yeah, they're all coming out.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do now is like get some banjo out on the porch and
Yeah,
scare them off.
yep.
I'm impressed by how many random instruments Johnny has.
Dude, yeah, I was blown away too when he started listing it. I didn't know that. Yeah,
I know, like I'm just like looking in the background. I'm just like, just got a bunch of stuff back there.
yeah.
It's just like, what the hell?
The guy's really good. I remember back in the Marine Corps days, him coming over. We would jam a little bit. I play guitar, and he would come over with his bass, and we would kind of pick stuff out. I At one point I was wanting him because I used to do a lot of like open mics and shit back in those days. I would go down to Wilmington and play on several occasions. And I was trying to get him in on it, and so we would have like a little band going, but it never really came to fruition. But he's excellent, man.
Yeah,
He's excellent.
it's in his blood. He's definitely got the knack for it.
Yep, he does. So I like to maybe one of these days we'll get something going. He'd probably be up for it. I'm sure he would.
I'm definitely sure he would.
Do you play? Do you play anything or no?
I used to play my bass a lot more than I currently do, which is I haven't touched it in years.
Yeah,
So I'm playing the game of do I keep it or do I play it on the random weeks that I'm home?
yeah,
And it's just
I,
like, well, in the random weeks that I'm home, I'm trying to do stuff. It's like, ah,
yeah. I was pretty certain that you did play bass, but I wasn't totally sure. But I hear you, man.
I
I
do, but not well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you play, so
Yeah.
I say that about guitar. Like I can hold my own, but I rely upon vocals. Like I try to kind of a singer songwriter type. So I rely upon my vocals so I don't have to be an excellent guitar player. You know, that's how I justify it. But um, you know, I did miss it though.
I mean, if you get the right people around you, you can always just do the vocals and someone else can be the do the strumming.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Something that's getting pretty big. Well, I guess it's always been big, but something that I've really been getting interested in lately is the bluegrass movement, especially out here where I am. I love bluegrass. I've seen half a dozen of them just in the last year, and I would really love to get into that. You know, um, I guess guitar, maybe doing vocals for it, but just to be part of that ensemble would be awesome. That may not be your thing, but I love it, man.
I
I love
like
bluegrass.
I like bluegrass incorporated into things, but
Yeah,
I mean I like and it's one of those things where I don't dislike any genre flat out right. I prefer heavy metal and punk rock, but there's certain songs I hear where I'm like, this is just a good song and I like it. And there's a lot of those in bluegrass, but
yeah,
there's a lot of there's one band in particular that I like that's a heavy metal band. And I'll use that term loosely because that's the base of it. but he incorporates bluegrass and American folk into the music.
Mm,
And
that's
when I say he, it's because it's a one man band. Like he records everything.
all the parts. Wow.
Yeah, track by track by track. It's just like, and it's incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I
And
love.
like that's what started cracking bluegrass open for me. And then
Yeah.
following him online, like randomly, he'll be like, I'm listening to this CD, and like and like it's the it's the really like intense like stuff that I like is what's the basis of it. So you're expecting him to like put out something like that and um like that kind of stuff, and it's just like American folk bluegrass, and it's just
Yeah.
like, huh.
Yeah. It's way out of left field. Yeah.
But it
It's
also makes sense because that's heavily incorporated into his music.
yeah.
Yeah, and
So
that's Panopticon. You probably wouldn't enjoy it that much.
maybe, maybe not. Well, I was.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with much Scandinavian metal? I'm assuming you are. You probably are.
I know the Norwegian and the Swedish stuff very well, yes.
Yeah. So you. Well, I did go to a festival while I've been out there, and I saw some stuff, and I liked it. It was good. Yeah, it's not my go to, but I could definitely appreciate it. Um,
Mhm.
and I guess as you would probably expect, there's a heavy, heavy presence of Scandinavian, even in the city that I'm near. I'm near the city of Trondheim, and there's just a huge, like, appreciation for for that genre of music out there. But I couldn't
So,
even tell you who I was watching. Like a lot of it just kind of left my brain. But yeah,
so the Norwegian metal scene in the '90s was very interesting to say the least.
yeah,
And then around the early 2000s, they started viewing it as their greatest cultural export,
mm,
like
I believe.
Norway did. And it was just like, but it was the antithesis of the Norwegian scene that they didn't want to be like recognized and get awards for any of it.
Mm,
So there's this weird divide in the scene where it's like, fuck you, don't give me an award. But then there's other people like Satyricon, who played at the National Opera House with the National Opera, did all their songs.
mm,
And it's a wonderful recording. Like one, the video recording of it is amazing because you get to see like all the opera and like orchestra people like faces while they're like doing the songs,
yep,
and like you can like see it on their face like, I'm classically trained, why am I doing heavy metal? And then some of them are just like in it, in the zone. They're like, this is what I'm getting paid to do, this is my job, this is amazing, go Norway.
yeah,
And it like the entire thing sounds beautiful also because I know Satyricon songs. And yeah, so there's that weird divide, but also the Swedish side of it is entirely different because theirs is death metal but melodic.
mm,
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
out of Gothenburg.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the bands that I saw, I don't know if they were Swedish, maybe they were, but that properly describes what I was seeing. It was very melodic, but it was like heavy, heavy, but a lot of dramatization on stage happening at the same time. You know, um,
That's just stage presence and show, though.
I suppose, yeah.
Unless they were, trying to burn a cross or had pigs' heads, then that's totally different.
It was a lot of like Viking imagery, but there was also a lot of shit that just reminded me of like uh, it was kind of like like cyberpunk looking. I'm just talking about the images that they were projecting and some of the props that they had. It reminded me of like a cyberpunk type of throw. I don't know, but it was cool. Yeah,
It sounds awesome.
no, it was cool. I'm sure you would have. I'm sure you would have loved it from what I saw.
No, I definitely would have.
At the same show that I went to, Alice Cooper was there, and I like me some Alice Cooper. So he, I guess he's come out of retirement, so he played at the same festival. That was pretty rad. But yeah, by and large, a lot of it wasn't, like I said, wasn't my bread and butter, but it was definitely I could appreciate it.
Yeah, so the other thing that you'll notice is that the Norwegian music,
Yeah.
the Norwegian black metal scene, if you remove all of the like effects and like all that off the guitar, it's surf rock
Ooh.
because they're doing tremolo picking and they're going for
Right.
atmospherics.
Yeah.
So like
I
if
know
you
that word.
pull away all that like really yeah, the effects and processing and so it's just smooth like that, it's surf rock. It's really weird because I liked surf rock growing
I
up.
love surf rock. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, and when I found that out, it made like perfect sense to me. I'm like, oh,
Oh, yeah. This is, yeah, kind of brings it all together. Yeah.
mhm.
I've got a playlist on Spotify that's primarily surf rock with some other, stuff thrown in. But yeah, I love that stuff, man. Hmm. But,
Definitely is great stuff. But I need to go on and carry on my day, and I'm sure I should let you go inside and not get bit by bugs anymore.
yeah, coming out. So appreciate you having me, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're just glitching a
Okay.
little bit.
Oh, sorry. No, I appreciate for
That's
your.
okay.
I appreciate you bringing me on, man.
I mean, hey, thank you for being on. Like, I couldn't do this without people because it'd just be me talking to myself, and
Yeah.
it'd probably get pretty boring pretty fast for me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that and slowly get everyone talking again.
yes. No, I mean what you're doing, man, and you and Johnny kind of hit on this earlier too. I think what you're doing is amazing. The fact that you've gotten the ball rolling is great. So it is going to get people talking again, and it's there. It's almost therapy. It's like therapeutic, So um, and the fact that it's
Well, it's
it's
one
not.
of the
Yeah.
things. It's one of the things. I'm really sorry I interrupted you,
No. No.
but it's
No.
one of the things that we need as just everyone in general as a whole needs community. And we had that by force. And then we were just like, no, these are my people, actually. Like, we get it through shared suffering and like all that stuff. It's just like, these are my people and I like them. They're fun. They're funny. Like, I get them. They get me. And then 4 years later, we're to the wind. We don't see each other. And then it's like, it's 16 years. And now we're talking like it's been yesterday talking about chicken sex.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So, I
it's
mean,
so simple. It's the simplest thing in the world, but it's incredibly powerful. So
mhm.
um, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just going to do this until I can't get people to do this. And then I just wait a little while and eventually I find people again. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I really liked
yeah.
you go.
Well, I was just gonna say, obviously, just like anyone else, I'm happy to do it again. Maybe the next go around, I'll have some more of a structure, or we can pick a topic, just to keep it on one, course or train of thought. So if you run out of people, obviously you got plenty of guys who wanted to come back on here and do another episode. You know.
I think the ideal thing for the next one would be I really liked the way it went with Leroy, Hawes, and Brown, where there was the
Yeah.
two of them. And I like the way it went when I did Cease and Bates too. So start bringing like two or three guys on at a time so that it can be more discussion, more people talking instead of just like
One
one
on
on
one.
one. And it's
Yeah.
people listening to me talk to you. Like you can actually talk to someone else too. And
Hmm.
like the really fun thing about the Brown and Haas one was that a lot of people commented, they were like, I was yelling the answers to things you guys were saying and couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
And I was just like, yes.
yes. I was doing the same thing, dude. I listened to Stumballs, I listened to Babcocks and Euros, and I was like screaming stuff. I was like, it was like, it was this, it was that, Even the thing with even the thing with AA Cunningham. Are we still recording? Yeah, even the thing
Yeah,
with
we
AA
are.
Cunningham. I was like, AA Cunningham. But,
Yeah. But hey, do you got any closing thoughts before we head this off?
uh, I wish I had prepared something, but in
I mean, no pressure. Just say something smart.
something smart, something smart. Yeah,
All right.
to live is
Well,
yeah. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm trying to think of something philosophical. Uh, next time. Next time.
all right. I'll
Love you,
accept
man.
that.
All right.
I love you. Thank you for coming on.